Yeah? So you can't just get somebody who thinks you must do this at a certain time. Of course, you do take in views for the purposes of analysis, for the purposes of internalizing, for the purposes of monitoring and evaluation your own program. But it is a revolutionary misconduct. It's a terrible mistake for an activist and a revolutionary movement to take direction from people who do not understand what is it that you are trying to do in the direction that we are trying to go. So we are simply just saying that we've been very clear over the past 5 years. What is it that we wanted to do and what is it that we think? So we don't take decision by chance or just because there are other people who are doing whatever it is they are doing. We take decisions because we find ourselves, we define ourselves, and we direct ourselves. To protect the poor from their houses being demolished, because we've been protecting them when we didn't have the necessary institutional support system. We've been protecting them from the street. He spent a day in jail when they went to assist one of the homeless people there. It happens all over the country, the same in Katima and everywhere. But what we want to do is that sometimes to protect the poor from the street is very difficult. To protect the poor from a position of weakness is very difficult. To protect the poor when you don't have the necessary institutional mechanism is very difficult. So what we want to do is to continue that protection, but to continue that protection with the necessary institutional support, to continue that protection with the necessary institutional mechanism. So we are making it very clear that we are going forward and we will be participating in those elections. Now, in a political system that is characterized by chaos, electoral leadership that seemingly takes instruction from the Chinese embassy in the SWAPO headquarters, the need of waging a formidable election campaign and keeping your eyes on the ball cannot be underestimated. It is for this reason that we announce the appointment of activist Pau Pau as the head of elections. He will be our contact point and lead all our election machinery and infrastructure across all 121 constituencies and the 57 local authorities. Activist Pau Pau is a formidable activist of our movement who has been coordinating the AR movement activities in Oshana region. He has successfully excelled in all operations, overt or covert. That basically means that there are some operations that are public and there are some operations that obviously for obvious reasons cannot be public. We are saying these activists have succeeded exceptionally well in all those operations that he has been assigned to by the movement over the years. He has been at the forefront of fighting corruption in Oshana region and is responsible for many political outlook and alignment inside and outside AR in Oshana region. And I think it's Nguchina though who was explaining the dynamics of AR. People still don't understand that a person can be an AR activist yet belong to whatever political party or whatever political orientation. So what we mean political realignment in Oshana region is that there has been political alignment inside the AR movement, but also political alignment in those other political parties and other political formations. Because some of the youth come to us and say, now we are in APP, we were dealing with one of the cases in the APP, particularly in Oshana, where some of our youth have participated and they've been victimized. So we had to speak to those guys in the APP to say, hey Chief, what are you doing to our activists? So he's been responsible for those activities in Oshana region. Among several protest actions, he successfully led the Cheddar Must Fall protest that eventually saw the departure of the corrupt judge, Matthew Cheddar, from our High Court in Oshakati. Activist Pau Pau, a political organizer of note, will execute this function with the full support of the Central Election Corps. And we wish him all the best. So the first tactical submission had to do with Tier 1 or Part 1 municipalities. You need to remember that our municipalities are in 3 levels. There's Part 1 municipalities, and then you have your towns, and then you have your village councils and things like that. Part 1 and Part 2 municipalities. So the first tactics was to ensure that all municipalities that are part of Part 1 municipalities, that being Windhoek, Wavesbai, and Swakopmund, are the first ones to go there. And of course, these are the kind of your economic capital, if you want, of the whole country. So those ones are done. As we anticipated and indeed prepared for, they are attempting to sabotage this application. We wish to announce to our activists in this town to relax and wait for registration, because all tricks that are being used are perfectly those that we anticipated. So there's no surprise at all about what is happening. AR will be registered in line with the 14 March 2020 resolution, either as a result of cooperation with the ECN or as a result of antagonism with ECN. So there is no question about registration. It's definitely going to take place in a smooth path or in an antagonistic path. So there's no question about not registering and not participating. So no one should be worried at all about that aspect. We would like to salute the activists in this town for the wonderful work they have been doing. We want to say we are proud of you, of all of you that are involved, because you have to come up and down. You have to. Zati was just here submitting the outstanding for Swakopmund, Cool Style, all the way from Katima and many others. So we value your work that you are doing and we are proud of you. Next week, the second tactical submission for registration will reach the doorsteps of ECN. We see the ECN guys saying, we have received you, we've received Swakopmund. I don't think they have psychologically prepared that every local authority in our country, there will be a submission. Aranos, TES, whatever formation that qualifies to participate in local authority, there will be a submission. And then those strategies and tactics are going to continue going forward. Now, to the most exciting aspect, existence, we have been sustained by our own savings and by people of goodwill who believe in what we do and the role we play in society. Unlike those ones, yes, those ones, we have no access to illicit fish rod millions to fund our campaigns. We are not for sale, we are not making any deals. We take politics seriously, and we do not exchange political power with business. It is for this reason that we have summoned the innovative brains of our activists to come up with innovative ways to raise funds in a transparent manner, unlike those ones. It is for this reason that as of 12, midday today, an SMS line went live where ordinary people can support the movement in its principles effort to fix our country. AR activists and Namibians who wish their broken country to be repaired are called Appointing. Simply SMS the word "Fix Namibia" to the number 55755. Each SMS is charged at only $3 Namibian. There are no limitations as to how many times one can SMS. So, those of you that are already here, because it's from 12, it's one word, Fix Namibia, capital F, I, X, and Namibia, at 55755. Once you send that SMS, you would get a response. I think the response would be, anybody? Can you test it?
Quickly just test.
55755. Kevin, can you
Say the number again.
55755.
Fix Namibia.
Yeah, Fix Namibia, one word. FIX.
Smoke it.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just one word, Fix Namibia. AR, please fix Namibia. Yeah? Then AR responds to you that thank you for standing with AR, we got this. There's never been in the history of flag independence, there's never been any political formation that has been as innovative as the AR movement. So we wonder, MTC was created by these guys, we wonder why they never made use of this opportunity. So those stories of, yes, we don't have fish rock money, but we are using our brains to be able to generate funds through innovative ways. So as also a protest action, as also an instruction, but also as a contribution. We don't just ask people with millions, yeah? So even a person who only have $5, you get an opportunity to make a contribution. So one day, when people are there, you are going to be able to say and understand that I have indeed made a contribution. by young entrepreneurs through their company called Ethics Group Holdings. Over the coming days, we will also make public further initiatives and platforms where contributions can be made. We just want to give an opportunity to ethics, for the colleagues from ethics to just explain what is happening and what is it that they do and this innovative. It's not a big guy, it's just a young guy who's running his own company. It's a young man who's running a PTY Ltd. Available. Those youth that are in Katima, who wants to fix Katima, the requirement is that they must pay 2,500. There's a cost attached to that. They must pay 2,500. And there are no ECN offices in this town where they can submit, isn't it? They will have to submit in Windu. I'm speaking under correction. So they will have to travel here. They have to go and get, there's a lot of funds that are involved. So we hope that the more people SMS, we are able to pay for the registration fees of all those various local authorities. Of course, for individual councillors, it's the same amount. Eh?
150.
No, not signatures, the amount.
Yeah.
It's
Still 25.
It's still 2,500 for individual councillors. There might be individual councillors that are supported by the communities, but unfortunately they might not have the necessary resources. Of course, we are not saying we are going to pay for everybody, but what we are saying is that we would want to assist those ones who are unable to assist. And running an election machinery, facing people who have fish rod money probably in cash in some underground bankers in their houses, and probably having money from the Chinese embassy. So it's very difficult. Those election campaigns are tough. We would need, those election campaigns are tough. We need resources. There's probably about, how many voting stations? Probably about 4,000 or so.
Yeah.
You probably need more than 4,000 observers. They would need 4,000 or 5,000 observers.
Yeah.
They would need food, they will need transport, they will need resources in order for so that our elections cannot be stolen. Yeah? Because when you are fixing something, you need to make sure that it doesn't fall. Yeah? So it needs to be treated with care. You need to tread carefully. So that's why we hope that you are able to support an SMS as many times as possible. There have been no political formation that ever had an SMS line. We start wondering, why didn't they come to you or anybody else? Or just, it's not possible for a 70 or 80-year-old to really catch these innovative ideas. But there are many young people out there with talent and energy and innovation, and characterize them on the basis of their political affiliation. So it's also in our interest that political parties, existing political parties, transform. Because as a representative of all the fearless youth, there are some youth that are not going to leave their party. But if we can help them do whatever it is that they do in their political formation. So a corrupt political party is not in the interest of anybody. A corrupt political party, even if you are not a member, is not in the interest of the country. So that is why the strategies and tactics of the movement has always been to plant the seed, move very slowly. You know, if you want to go alone, you can go alone. Yeah? And you can go faster. But if you want to go further, and then you go with others. That's why people are saying, yeah, why didn't you guys do this in this year and what? We could have done it, but we could have done it alone. But now we are able to move with society, take time with societies and things like that. Our approach is this. There's two approaches that we do as far as election is concerned. One approach has been self-directed. There are those activists that are self-directed in their specific community. You remember, if you have attended the consultative conference, what we're basically saying. We're saying there are activists that are self-directed, that have been working in the community, and we support those activists. Some of them are AR activists, some of them are not necessarily AR activists. And some of them, in the process, do conversion to AR. Yeah? But what we wanted to do is, it's not just because you are AR, you have an AR t-shirt, you don't do anything. Remember what we have decided on the 14th of March. We said that our method of campaign must not be about promising people. Our method of campaign must be doing work in the community. That is why in Samora Machel you see activist Helao there. He's busy in the community doing work. That is a form of campaign. Okay? So in other words, to answer Kanji, the first approach as far as candidates are concerned is those self-directed activists who are already working in the community. And the movement has been seeing those activists, and the movement has been in touch with those activists, and therefore the movement supports those self-directed activists. But the second resolution that was also taken at the consultative conference was also to say that air structures all over the 14 region must now sit and discuss, because you see there are consequences when you give opportunities. The air movement has been providing opportunities to everyone, and when you provide opportunity to everyone, when you show that it can be done, you don't attract only one. You attract 2, you attract 20, you attract. We've been dealing with a crisis in Okalongo, for instance, that even in many other places. So you are definitely going to see those. So we took a resolution that one, we are going to embrace those ones that are already working in the community, but in areas where maybe activism, an area cannot be ignored just because we didn't have dedicated activists in that community. So we'll have then to put up the candidates in there. Where and how we put up those candidates, we then ask our structures to engage with the community and then produce a candidate. Obviously, since this candidate does not have a unique character, unquestionable character, where you see an activist like Helao, who's already working with the community, who's already mobilizing the community, who's already petitioning. I mean, we sit back, sometimes we wonder, if we die, what is going to happen to activism? The other day, we were traveling to the north and we saw activists Helao organized the masses from Samora Machel, and they went to the municipality office. And some of them came with the iron, and some of them, we want to shit in the toilets because we don't have toilets. And some of them came with the iron and they plugged in those plugs of the municipality and they start ironing their clothes. Yeah, so whenever they want to relieve themselves, they go in those toilets of the municipality. These are colleagues that are already involved and activists that are already doing the work in the community. So that's our prolonged strategy. Remember what we say, the head of election, an activist in Bulkani, has been in touch with various political formations and been engaging them. And of course, those are not some matters for revelation here, but he's been at the forefront of that. And we've also asked that the head of election should also engage, where necessary, various political formation to engage with them and see what is it that how far we can come. I hope Kanti, I answered that question, isn't it? Okay. The second question was on funding. That we are self-established, we are self-directing and self-defining. You see, what would happen, for instance, is that look, we are not poor people, we are not unemployed people. Whereas some people use their money on alcohol, women, men, and some other things, we don't spend our money on alcohol. We don't spend our money on cigarettes. We spend our money on our movement. Yeah? So we at first, one of the basic methods of funding the AR movement have been ourselves. Yeah? You remember we used to sell t-shirts. Let me give you as an example. In 2014, we published a book, Truth is Truth. We had the launch in Vaves Bay, we had the launch in Windhoek, we had the launch in Ongwediva. I could have gone and bought a car with the proceeds from Truth is Truth. We took 100,000 from the proceeds of Truth is Truth to pay for office space. We had an office in Eros. But we paid for the whole year. We took all that money. At that time, I mean, we were only few of us. We didn't even know whether society will understand what it is that we are trying to do. Because we are self-defining and we believe in ourselves, we took all that money into the office space. So our savings and the initiatives that we used to do has been sustaining our movement. He's a businessman in Oshana. You know, people go to his dry cleaner there in Upindi location, and he takes money to buy water for the protest. Yeah, so George even borrowed money from the business of the mother so that they can just support our activities. So we've been self-directing over the years. That's the first level of funding, has been ourselves. The second level of funding of our movement has been men and women who sympathize with our movement. Yeah. So, in fact, when you go to the archives, you are going to see posters of the AR movement. We'll send out posters and say, this is what we want to do. If you want to help the AR movement, please contact so and so number. So most of our funding and anything that we do, we go out there and we ask for people to support us actively. Yeah, and of course our challenge has been that some people are scared of the regime. They would not want to openly disclose themselves, and we are not ashamed at all. We engage everybody, and then they say, please guys, man, continue moving forward. Some of them are journalists. And they said, okay guys, this is what, push, continue. Okay, well, no, they say we need to go to this community, we need to send somebody, some ordinary, even security guards. They will say, okay, I'm just having something small. And sometimes you really look at the person who wants to make a contribution. The person really have nothing. Yeah? He just employed maybe a ShopRite and they give you a 50 towards an event. When we send out a call for support, we expect most the magogos, people with money. But this person show up who works at ShopRite and they say, you guys saved our job with that ShopRite protest. And this is a $50. And deep down you want to say, oh, no, just keep it. But the person feels that, no, I want you to take it. I insist that you take it. Because to them, having done that, it gives them a peace of mind that they've contributed to an idea, they've contributed to the spirit, they've contributed to the reason, they've contributed to the key philosophy of change. So that's the second level. So what we are now then doing, we are introducing the third level of the stream of income by doing all these innovative activities. We are going to announce when e-wallet, we are going to announce a bank account, we are going to announce pay to sell and all those other initiatives as far as we're concerned. This question now to ask about fish rod. You see, we've been very careful about, you remember we said at the beginning we are self-defining. You see, if you are an activist and a person who's involved in activism, you need to be very tactful and careful. When Saki sued me for 500,000, it was all over the front pages of the newspaper. Yeah? And they were saying, these boys, they talk too much. They talk too much. Yeah, you see, there's a no. Yeah? So we fought that battle. Yeah? Sometimes we didn't even have money to pay the Saki introduced an interlocutory where they had two advocates to challenge the plea. I'm sorry, journalists, you remember to say the structure of the plea. Two advocates in that specific case. No single contribution from all these people that are talking. Yeah? So you need to be, even when it was not, we even spoke about and against corruption when it was not fashionable to do so. When there was no clear evidence to do so. Now, all of a sudden, Al Jazeera have indeed unraveled exactly what we've been saying over the years. Yeah? So, when you as a freedom fighter, you fight for freedom. You fight for freedom and you relax. It's now your opportunity. There's a term that we call Nufuningirwa. Nufuningirwa basically means the people who are just waiting for you to do everything. So we were at the forefront there, taken to court and all sorts of things, you know, and things like that. Who was sued for calling out people for corruption? We wrote to Noah, asking him to give the files on Saki. Noah refused. Yeah? But all of a sudden, why are you quiet on Fish Road? Why are you quiet on what? I mean, we have been in the forefront when it was not fashionable to do so. It's easier for you people to speak because there is now no threat of being sued. And some of you were laughing and enjoying it and praying that, that I'm found guilty. Because if we were found guilty at that time at court, it was going to send a chilling effect to all the activists. Because they were going to say, yeah, you see, you are talking. Look at what happened to Joe. So we don't think that we owe people an explanation in terms of our strategies and tactics. We remember people were saying, yeah, you guys are anti-GAMCO, you guys are what. We are used to all those labels. But our advice to everybody else, if you know what you are doing, don't take instruction from people just to satisfy them. Yeah? Because immediately after you do what they want you to do, they are just waiting. They have another 10 more things. They say, oh, why are you wearing a cap? Oh, why are you wearing socks? Because the other day we were saying, yeah, you guys are apparently fighting for the poor, but you are driving a GT6. What must I go to work with? Must I go to work with a donkey cart or what? We're not poor. So this is what you need to be able to understand. When you are running in the movement, when you are in activism, your direction must be self-defining, self-directing, and self-conceptualizing. Yeah? So when you want to speak on the issue, you speak on the issue. I mean, I don't understand. When people always talk about AR, there's always an individual and there's always AR. And people are saying AR is quiet. When Noah was zigzagging on Fish Road, when Noah was zigzagging on Fish Road, it was the AR movement that was organizing all those protests at the ACC. Look at the visuals. So we are not necessarily moved about, but we know the strategies and tactics. Because if a person who understands what we are doing stands up and say, if a person who understands what we're doing stand up and say, guys, this is an aspect that needs to be, because we don't address issues for people's entertainment. We address the issues because we believe they are substantive. So no one can question our record of fighting corruption. Yeah? We fought corruption when it was least fashionable to do so. We fought, there's quite a number of cases. We were at the forefront after the evaluation summit in 2016. We took a resolution that Penda and Dakolo must pay back the money. Yeah? And we went to the Prosecutor General, we went to the ACC on Penda and Dakolo. And Dakolo eventually paid back that money. Yeah? So we were one of those people who made a submission on the farm with regards to Katrina. So our track record of fighting corruption is very clear for everybody else to see. But obviously from the level of tactical sophistication, we know what these people are doing and saying. Yeah? It is not necessarily the movement. People have a problem with Job. That is why if you have a problem with Job, you are saying, what is Job saying? When George stands up, you don't see them. When Elau stands up, you don't see them. When Cool Style stands up, you don't see them. When D stands up, you don't see them. So why do you think we must take a person like that seriously? So it can only be substantive. What if I die today?